Okay, now figure this out. You got Hannes Wagner Field in Carnegie, but there's also another famous person who happens to have his nameplate on a ball field there, who actually was born there, but Aliquippa takes credit. Did you know, Lou and Fred, as in Cooper and Valino, that Mike Ditka was born in Carnegie? You knew that, right?
I did know that.
All right, so Iron Mike actually born in Carnegie, but so was the Flying Dutchman, the incredible Hannes Wagner. Now, we're going to talk a little promotion and a little football. Fred, of course, against Larry Zonka, beer distributorship, Lisbon, Ohio, of course, for many years. But Syracuse University was where he played college football, but he played at Maryland. Before we get to that, though, your street market, I know this gentleman from Carnegie was a big help, big success. September's here almost, and we're winding it down, but I guess overall, first year, not too bad, huh, Lou?
No, it was really good. I think it was very productive, and people enjoyed it. The ones that came really enjoyed it. So appreciate everybody that did.
So was it like actually, what was the license plate number on that truck playing against Larry Zonka? He and Jim Kick. Look, they're even paid to laugh, folks. No, Jim Kick and him, when they were in the backfield for Don Shula and Bob Greasy, and they were doing great things, Earl Morrill in that 72 season. I was a big fan, still am to this day. Number 39, ladies and gentlemen, in your Miami Dolphins program, he was just a north-south runner, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. He was about 240. We played up at Archibald Stadium in '64 up there, and it was about 10 below zero. And I told Lou earlier tonight that they had me on a corner blitz, and Larry just got the ball, and I came in on a blitz. He ducked his head, and we hit head to head, and we both had concussions. We were wobbly off the field this way. He went that way, I went this way, and all I could think about is, I'm going to get back on the field before he does. And so I got over in the sidelines, I was talking to the coach, I said, Coach, is he back on the field? He said, no, but you're not going back. I said, no, hell I'm not, and I ran on the field. So anyway, long story short, that was my first meeting with Larry Zonka, but they beat us up there, but Larry was a great back, and there's no doubt about it.
You know, I don't think a lot of people realize this, but Syracuse, everybody talks about University of Pittsburgh. James Conner looked really great in that preseason game against Atlanta, how it's really been the university for running backs, going back to Tony Dorsett. But Syracuse had the late, great Ernie Davis, Larry Zonka, and ladies and gentlemen, the greatest running back ever in the history of the National Football League. Much love from my man, Jim Brown. So they had a nice stretch there, didn't they?
And Floyd Little.
Ooh, Denver Broncos.
And Joe, so-and-so for the New York Giants, Joe, whatever his name was. Okay. They had 5-6 great backs, Syracuse.
In a row.
For many years. Joe Morris.
Joe Morris, okay. Talk to me about playing at that level. What's it like and at that kind of level? Only a few people.
I went to Maryland in '63, and '64, of course, was varsity. Back then, you couldn't play varsity. You had to play freshman. You had a freshman team. But we opened up our sophomore year against Oklahoma, came in #1 in the nation. Okay, Jim Grisham, Lance Rensel, all those kind of guys. So I'm a sophomore out there with Butterflies. Bud Wilkerson, the former coach at Oklahoma,
The great Bud
was on ABC television, and we're coming out on the field and they're announcing the starting lineup. We were the defense, they announced us. I think I was ready to back in and just say, look, I can't do this. But anyway, long story short, it was a great run for 3 years for me at Maryland, and I had a wonderful time and met a lot of great kids, a lot of great friends, and it's definitely a lift for you, but a lot of pressure.
You know, Louis, this is really what this area is all about, though. You know, we're getting close to college football. By the way, they're going to have a great Saturday menu here. Lots of television. It's a great place to watch college football. Of course, Steelers on Sunday, the Cleveland Browns as well, and Mr. Kaiser from Notre Dame should be the starting quarterback. That's my opinion, but he's looked really good in the preseason. Talk to me, though, about that opportunity to look back on that time in your life and having the privilege to play on that kind of stage. It's got to be still fulfilling to this day, right?
Well, it is. I just lost a teammate yesterday who was a great player for us at Maryland, a linebacker, and he died yesterday, as a matter of fact. And I keep thinking back at times, and then we're having a little reunion there in the next few weeks down there in November. But yes, you look back on it as a time in your life, probably the greatest time in your life in college, the most fun you've had. And it's interesting, I think I told Lou this before, but I played cornerback on defense, and that was my position. But my junior year, they switched me to quarterback for 3 games because I was a quarterback in high school.
Where'd you go to high school again?
I went to Chartreuse Valley, which is near Carnegie.
Yeah.
Anyway, they switched me to quarterback. And so, for whatever reason, we only had 8 plays that week. We went down and knocked South Carolina off that week. I have no idea how we beat them. I think they scouted the former offensive team because we switched kids around. Had no idea what we were going to do. All we did was run the ball. They were number 4 or 5 in the nation, I think, at that time. We knocked them off 37-20, so whatever it was. And I came back to college. I came back to College Park, and I'm walking across campus. And believe me, I think every girl on that campus said, "Hi, Fred, hi, Fred, how are you?" And I went, you know what? Then your head swells up, and you went, "Geez, this is really something." Then we go to Navy the next week and got slaughtered. We got killed at Navy. I came back to campus again. I looked up on the wall, and there's a dummy up there with me. They hung me in effigy. Okay, so you're only as good as you play, and simply because. But you remember those times, and you really remember your teammates and the fun you had. So yes, it was a great experience.
Louis, just you and him, how'd you meet?
Downstairs. Fred knew someone that I knew, and we started talking and just hit it off. Started swapping stories and just.
And most of them were lies, but we still swap them.
That's right. Well, that's the best part.
So what's real quick? What's this partnership about moving forward? What are you two trying to do? Just maybe some more promotional stuff together, maybe?
We're. I think we'd like to. I mean, we started. We're doing something with Mulberry Street here. Hopefully, we can move on to something and get something going, inspiring in these little motivation.
Good stuff. Hey, listen, thank you so much. I don't know. You know Ralph Sindrich? Ralph played at Pitt, obviously.
He played at Pitt. I knew Ralph in high school. My first 2 years in high school was in Washington.
But I don't think people realize Western Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio, Panhandle, West Virginia, in the early '60s, the talent that they had and how many circulated to Division I schools in various sports, but also in the NFL. That was a real starting point for a lot of football players who eventually ended up playing on Sundays in the National Football League right here in the Tri-State.
That's right. That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, 2 of my teammates were right here in the Valley. A fellow named John Kenny played for Steubenville, and a fellow named Laurie McQueen was at Weirton High, and they both were on the Maryland team with me back years ago. So you have a lot of great football here in the Eastern Ohio, Western Pennsylvania region. Of course, you're right up here near Aliquippa, and that's pretty big up there too, isn't it?
They don't rebuild, baby. They just reload. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Fred Cooper, Lou Bellino. Coming back, we're going to talk about Donald Trump last night in Phoenix. What's next? You just can't wait. Doug Saltzman in just a moment.